now, but you're up and tuned in and locked in with us, we are indeed happy to have you. Those of you in the US, touching my sister Gail, my brother Bernard, and quite a few folks in the diaspora, people like Judy and Sabina, and all the other good folks who listen. Reaching out to those of you in the Caribbean who are tuned in and locked in tonight, thank you for choosing us. And all of Dominica, all those of you on this beautiful island of ours who are using your transistor radio, your stereo, you're driving somewhere and you're tuned in and locked in, we're happy to have you. And there are those of you who prefer the live on Facebook that you can get on my Facebook page and also on the In the Spotlight Radio Show Facebook page, as well as on Q. We are live on Q as well, so you can look out for us there. So it's your choice. You have options, you have choices. You can view or you can listen. It is up to you. So welcome everyone and welcome to tonight's program. Before we get into our program tonight, I want to just let you know that you are welcome to make suggestions for guests on the program, and you can do so by sending an email to inthespotlight.da@gmail.com. That's inthespotlight.da@gmail.com. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 275-7565. Now, I know many of you know my other number, but this is the number that I'm using for the program and other related stuff. So you can send me a WhatsApp message on 275-7565. You can also use that number to communicate with me during the course of the program. When you're making your recommendations, please be sure to tell us the reason for the person that you're recommending, why you think they should be on the program, and contact information for that guest as well. In fact, I've gotten quite a few suggestions during the course of the day on this number, and also on those who know my normal day-to-day number as well. Quite a few suggestions there. We want to invite you to like our Facebook page. You can go to www.facebook.com/In the Spotlight Radio Show. Join our fan page, ITS Radio Show Fans. And again, the contact number for the In the Spotlight Radio Show is 275-7565. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 16 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. Let me acknowledge my assistant producer here, Kadisha. Thank you, Kadisha, for your support as always. And we also want to acknowledge Q95 FM Radio, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited, the Garaway Hotel, Dominican News Online, Innovate Multimedia, and of course, if you would like to be a sponsor on this very, very well-liked program, I must say, then you can make contact with the folks at Q95 FM Radio. It is still 16 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock, and let me once again welcome you to the In the Spotlight Radio Show in a very special way.
For Dinah drives me crazy when I look into her eyes. Lady, you just caught me by surprise. Maybe I've just realized I need your love in my heart, beating night and day.
Ooh la la.
My love is here to stay. Welcome.
Kadisha, wasn't this lovely? This was indeed lovely, and we thought we would probably start off things in a different way tonight with my guest. Let me say good night and welcome, and thank you for the serenade tonight on the In the Spotlight Radio Show. It really was indeed something very, very different. Tell us who you are, sir.
Well, my name is Robert John, also known as Robbie, and I wasn't born on the soil, but I'm a son of the soil, and I've done many things here, and I just want to share my story.
And it is our pleasure to bring you here tonight to share your story with us. There's quite a bit to learn about you, and even getting ready for tonight, I got quite a few messages of persons telling me that I must get you to dance on the program. So the viewers will get to see that, and you have consented. And even if you didn't consent, I would force you. I'm just kidding. Of course, I wouldn't.
As long as you join me,
As long as I join you.
Yeah, we all dancing tonight.
Oh, we all dancing tonight. Kanisha, are you ready for that? Kanisha said no, she's not ready for that. But definitely, I want to see those footsteps, because I was told that you are a dancer. Now, you're not a small built guy.
Indeed, I'm not a sport.
You're a bit heavy set.
Yeah,
so I gotta see this.
I'm the heavyweight champ of the dance floor.
You're the heavyweight champ of the dance floor.
Undisputed.
Undisputed champion.
Yep.
We're gonna have a fun time tonight on the program. So this is Robert John, better known as Robbie. And Robbie is our guest tonight, and we're going to share his story, his life story with us. And we're going to begin by talking to Robbie about, you were not born in Dominica.
That's correct. I was born in London in the UK, and but I was born in a Dominican household. You were born in a Dominican household. That's correct. So,
that says what?
Well, both my parents were born in Dominica.
What part?
At Salisbury. I have to shout out the Salisbury crew. You know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get out of DA alive if I didn't do that.
Ja ba oui.
Oui.
Oui, ba oui. Vous savez créole?
A little bit. I try.
Ou si vous avez pas nous à créole. Si moi m'a ou si vous savez créole, ou ni pour dire moi oui, moi ça parle
Moi ça.
Oh my goodness.
I
was trying to help you, but it seemed that I couldn't be of much help either.
Okay.
But I can hold my end of Creole.
Right.
I can. Okay? Alright, I have to teach you. We'll have to get Felix Henderson to teach us.
I'm good with that.
The UE is having a summer session on the basis of Creole.
If I was here long enough, I would attend.
Oh.
But I didn't know UE was doing that.
You didn't know?
I did. I listened to the show.
Oh.
I had Barry.
And Kimon.
Indeed, I listened to that show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, an opportunity for a free plug there for you.
Okay.
Yes. So your parents are from Salisbury.
Yeah. Grandparents, Tutmun.
Tutmun had Salisbury, Barry.
Yeah.
And they went to England.
Yeah, they went to England.
Do you know the story of how and why they went to England?
Well, I think it's the usual thing, the economics, the call from England, part of the Windrush generation. My grandparents went prior to that and then sent for my parents. And, Salisbury farming community, their parents were doing well enough to afford the passage. And as I always tell people in England, a lot of the people that went across to the Caribbean were middle class people.
Mm-hmm.
There's this notion in the UK that all the people that left the islands that went to UK were just poor working class people, which is far from the truth. So yeah, they were middle class people.
So they could make their way to the UK.
Yeah, indeed, and they worked hard, and I was born there and educated there, etc. But the household was very Dominican.
It was very Dominican.
So third world albums playing down in the house.
A little braff cooking on Saturday.
Braff. My dad's nickname was Dashing.
Dashing?
Oh yeah. So
in truth?
Yeah, true, real story. I mean, I think when coming back to Dominica, a lot of people feel that because you're born overseas, you have no knowledge or understanding, but the culture exports. When Dominicans leave Dominica and they go to wherever, whether it's England, Canada, US, the culture exports, the behaviours, the mannerisms, the language, it all exports with it.
Mm-hmm. And so you were born in the UK. What part of the UK were you?
London.
London itself. West London. What is West London like?
Well, I was born in a part of West London that was very few black people lived there, but it was adjoining a place called Southall. So most of the people from Salisbury went to this area called Southall, and it had a Salisbury community there.
What was it called? You're saying it with a British accent.
Southall. 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 That's how the parents would say it.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a quick joke on that one. When I first came here, people would say Emzol, and I say, where's Emzol? One day I went past the sign, I saw Elms Hall. I said, Emzol, Elms Hall.
That's it.
That would catch me for months.
It caught you.
For months. But anyway, moving on.
Yes.
So yeah, I grew up in a very white neighbourhood as a black family, one of very few. Very difficult, very racist times,
Wow.
the 70s. You know, people be attacked in the street. If you're black, you get attacked in the street. So if you wasn't good for yourself, you feel it bad. It's very simple. But I was fortunate enough that...
You never encountered that?
Well, no, I encountered it, but going back to the community I'm from, very strong people. I think because of the land, the farming. I think in general, Dominicans have a physical strength that some of our counterparts on other islands do not share. So my parents were very physically strong people and didn't suffer fools gladly, took no nonsense. And they instilled that in me and my brother's children. So we'd fight. And this is where I speak to the fact that I have a roughness about me. There's a Viennig element in me. I would, if I have to fight, headbutt, knockout, punch, kick, I would do it easy. I mean, I've got a story from when I was, I think I came to Dominica in 75 or 6. And my cousin, he's here now, I'm going to name him to embarrass him, Phil and Louis. We were staying at my great grandparents' house, Mummy and Nelson, Louis. And he came home crying. So I said, cousin, what happened to you? My boy, this could beat me. I said, all right, let's go. I took him by the hand and I walked him back to Salisbury Primary School. And I said, which one? And he pointed to the guy. I gave the guy a right hand straight away and all of his mouth open.
Oh my goodness.
And I just dragged my cousin back home. Then all the kids were saying, "The boy from England, but so and so more. The boy from England, but so and." And that news got back to my great grandparents so fast. I ended up getting licks when I got back. But I was fighting from the age of 4 and 5. It's no joke. I think it's a story. Like the returnee journey is a story. I think it's never spoken to in enough detail. And I always say that sometimes when the returnees come back, they should be treated as returning war heroes because what they've suffered out.
In what context, though?
Well, it's a battle. I mean, I've just been to a funeral today of a man, Mr. Gabriel Frederick, and you know my uncle was there. He was born here, and he said if it wasn't for a man like that, he couldn't walk the street in London because these Dominican guys from Salisbury, and I'm sure the Grand Bay guys have the same stories, would fight with teddy boys, rockers, skinheads. Hashimun, cutlass drawing, blood, it's fight for survival. And I mean, the perfect example, one of my relatives, they went to England within 3 days of being there, one of their friends got killed. He was attacked, racially attacked by rockers, etc., and was killed. And the law, the justice system was not favouring returnees. So they decided if anybody's killing, it's them. And they had this rough attitude and rough and ready attitude. So you had to be good for yourself. And it paved the way for, I mean, even when I went to school, we were the first generation that was schooled in England. So, you know, you go to school and there'd be like 5 black kids and like 500 other kids. And you'd have to be good for yourself. You'd be racial abuse, you'd have to fight, they'll try and take things from you, etc., etc. So, yeah, I'm a product of that, and I grew up being good for myself. You know, I'm not a small guy, I was still always tough, but I was taught, you know, if you got beaten in school, you can't go home and tell your mum this boy beat me and took my book, because you know what's going to happen.
You have to defend yourself.
I took the licks, all the licks that people got here, I took all that too. We grew up, like I say, the culture exports. So I went through that difficult time at school, always fighting, getting in trouble with teachers, not being supported because of my ethnicity, and most of the problems were due to my ethnicity. So we were, the older generation went through a process of dealing with adults and the issues, you know, which enabled people to steal their money. They would have no money to come to their families. This is where the Viennigs of the older generation from the village, the baddest bad man would leave work and pick up the next bad man. And then so they'd go. So by the time they get to the softest fella, the one who's Tebe, there's a good 15 fellas who can take on the world. So the guys who would steal the money would realise we can't do that no more, because them guys is ready to, It's Hashimun. They're not joking. So these are the parts of the culture we don't speak to.
Yes.
So when the returnees come back, they will come back, a lot of them, for just peace, quiet, back to the home that they left. You know, some will come with expectations that are unrealistic, we know all of that. But to me, I see that as these are war heroes that allowed me to go to school, be educated, learn, and then contribute to here and you go wherever in a different way. So I hold them in very, very high regard. But being in Dominica the time I was here, the length of time, I don't see that, and it sort of broke my heart at times to see people, there's a them and us thing. I've transcended that in my endeavours here, but it's a sad thing because we're all one.
I think, you know, most times, probably those of us who are left home or who remain home are of the view that people like yourselves and those who have gone before go out there and it's all a bed of roses. And of course I've learned that that is certainly not the case.
It's not the case. I've been fighting from the age of 4.
4.
I left school at 15 after a big fight where I left a guy in the corner. No, not covered in blood.
Yeah.
That's my last fight in school. So I fought from the age of 4 to 15. I even had to move school in that period.
And that was because of the environment.
Racism. You know, I lived in an area where there was very few black people. In Southall, the other place I speak to, which had a strong Dominican contingent, there was a lot of black families and they were good for themselves and the locals knew. You see them Dominican people, you leave them alone. But I lived in the neighbouring area where we didn't have that concentration. So we were like the pioneers, my mum. But the reason my parents moved there is because my dad was very, very good for himself. So he wouldn't tolerate nonsense, but they were not aware of what we were going through as kids. So it was very difficult. You know, you always have to face that. The teachers are not supportive of that, or others. We're always the one to blame. We're always the issue, and part of that then progresses into into work life, etc. But at 15, I walked out of school. I said I fed up with it.
You walked out of school?
I walked out.
You dropped out?
I dropped out of school. I was fed up with fighting, lack of support by the teachers, because whenever you have a fight, they would always say, you hit the person's child, so you're wrong. And I'll say, yes, but this person verbally abused me, you know, was rude to me, or whatever, etc., or a group of guys. Teachers not interested. It was only the actual last fight, the set parents brought in their son's shirt, which had blood on it, all covered in blood, where I'd give him a good beating. Because he basically racially abused me. And that was the reason why the fight started. But after the first beating, he wasn't happy. He was a Kung Fu Taekwondo fella, so he thought, he'd give me some good Kung Fu if he get me in an even space. So we went on a big cricket pitch. Maybe half the school was there to watch me get licked.
We see that in the movies.
This is real life for me. This is not movie, real life. What basically happened, this guy, they told the whole school that in the afternoon he's going to take Robert John and give him blows. And he's a brown belt taekwondo, and he was taller than me, and he had size as well. And I wouldn't back down from the challenge. That's not the way I was raised. And after school, there was 2 people that actually supported me. And one of them is my best friend who I opened up West Central with. That's the school I met him at. We sat next to each other. It's another story. But there's 2 guys out of the whole school. I was the only just 3 black children in the whole school of 1,000 pupils. And I was the older of all of those that were there. I used to come out my lessons and there'd be a group of guys waiting, just looking at me for that opportunity. And it was almost like every time I come out my lesson, I have to look at them and show them with a look, I'm ready. Whenever you're ready, I'm ready. And this was happening day in, day out. You were no coward. No, the people that raised me was not cowards. My far from cowards.
So they taught you to defend yourself?
My mum, what happened was, my granny, Ma Esley, I have to go there, I'm going to go there. My grandmother, I don't know if you know much about Salisbury, but the Was Louis, it's called Sazine.
Is what?
Sazine. Was Louis, Sazine. They'll finish you off. If you trouble with one Louis, the whole Louis clan, you're in trouble. And these people can fight. So my grandmother, she got in trouble for fighting for my mum when she was young because someone touched her daughter. So she taught my mum how to fight from young. So my mum was a terror, and my granny was, but anyway. So my mum did that to us. She taught us how to fight from small. How to clench a fist, how to throw a punch, and make it mean something with intent from young. And that was the life we lived. So going back to the school encounter, I mean, I was taught to box as well. A lot of young black guys learn how to box as a way of self-defense because that's how it was. And I could box. I was taught how to box. So that particular day, I went onto the cricket pitch, and there must have been, I don't know, half the school on this cricket pitch, wanting to see this black guy get beaten. It was just, you know, imagine most of your classmates are saying, this guy's going to beat you after school. That's my whole day of school that day was like that. Anyway, it's a mister. He get plenty. I gave him plenty and extra. In the end, the parents took the shirt, blood-stained shirt to the headmaster, and said, this is what this guy done to my son, etc., etc. The headmaster, he looked at me, he looked at them, and he said, what happened? And I explained, this guy racially abused me. And whenever I was racially abused, I've been taught, you have to fix the business. Mm-hmm. And that's what I knew.
So what happened to you?
So the headmaster said, well, he said to the guy's parents, if I punish him, I can punish your son.
That's right.
And the parents sort of sunk in their seat and just said, well, let it be. And that was actually the first time a teacher had stood up for me when I'd been racially abused, and then it led to an incident. But at that point I had enough.
You had enough?
I had enough. 15, you've been fighting, you know, as a child, and been beaten up at times where the gangs of children jump you. You know, I've been taunted all the way home from school, being called the N-word and all the going back home, all that stuff, as you're walking home as a 12-year-old child with guys around you, all of that stuff. Watching other kids attack my, it's tough. It's tough.
But outside of that, how was the overall school experience?
Well, the thing is, academically, I've always been bright. Mm-hmm. You know, the family, fortunately, again, the family line is quite intellectual. You know, the John family, the Louis, the Vidal family, Daly family, it's a lot of bright people. So I think I was blessed with that. And as a result of that, when I was throughout school, but in secondary school, where I had to move school, the school I actually got moved to was a better school than the previous one, and I was an A student. So even though I was there rolling around fighting fellas, the head was good. So I've just been fortunate. So that's where I suppose when I spoke to my journey, I left school at 15 with no qualifications.
No qualifications?
None.
You dropped out?
I dropped out. Fighting, seen as a troublesome black youth in London, whatever. But I was ambitious and I had desire and I had knowledge. You know, I was a bright guy. So I got to a point where I was working as a mason. I qualified, I went to college to be a mason. And as I was a mason on the building sites, I had my books to do my maths and English O-level GCSE. And them guys would be telling me, oh, you think you're Einstein, look at you with your books and whatever. But I was determined to prove that I was at least literate. You know, maths and English, at least I can say I'm literate. So I completed the maths and English. And then I fell sick because I thought I was the Energizer bunny that could never run out of battery power. Mm-hmm. And my blood pressure dropped, etc. And then I had to stop working. Unfortunately, we had a family business. I worked in that for a while. But I decided I'm going to university. I am going to get a university degree because I deserve to show I am capable, but be for myself, to show I can sit with the academically strong. So I took myself to night school, had my maths and English. I did an access course, and I access into the degree course. I was in early 20s. And then I got degree place, studying. And as I'm going, I noticed I got some high grades. I'm like, hold on a minute. Now at the same time I was in the music industry, that's another part of that. And I realised, hold on, if I really worked hard, I can do it. So I decided it's first or bust. That was it. I'm going to get a first class honours degree. There was no option. And so I went A first, and boom. Even to the point where I was in subjects where teachers would give me a 2-1, and I knew that piece of work was a first, and I'd go back to them and say, that's a first, and I'd be like, oh no, I don't give first, and da-da-da-da-da. But I'd serve them later. Next time I come back again, it's a first. I had a guy shake my hand and tell me he's never given that grade for his work. We had this other guy, a marketing professor, who told us not to take his course. There was a group of us, ethnic students from Africa, Caribbean, etc., who went through a different path to some other students that he'd already taught, and he treated us like we were inferior and told us, do not take his subject because we are not capable.
How can you say that?
Yeah, he said it. So I said, I take all the Mr. subjects. All. I took all of my subjects. And the first time around it was a bit tough. I got, I think, a 2-2. But then I realised the work he required wasn't as detailed as he made out. He was almost like frightening us off. I served Mr. First, bang, bang. I'm even in an exam half hour early, foot up. Now I was still a rebel. I used to go to university with my hoodie, Timberlands, with the tongue hanging, on my face, beard and unshaven. The rebel still lives in me, still in me. I'm sitting in lectures and a lecturer come up to me and say, what are you doing here? Yeah, they look at me and feel I have no right to be in the lecture room. And I have to explain, I'm a student, I sat at the front. Every subject, early, at the front, in the middle, not moving. Taking notes, never left the lecture room unless I understood every concept that had been delivered. So I went through, continuing. And then, led to first. So I got greeted off the stage by newspapers. And I featured in every Caribbean newspaper in England.
Oh, wow.
Because,
that's incredible.
Yeah, I've got all the cuttings laminated in Salisbury. This is a thing I treasure. The fact that I went through that process and, the guy that dropped out of school 15.
What's the lesson there, though? What's the lesson?
Well, the lesson there for me is persistence, perseverance, belief in yourself, and listen to those that are supporting you on your journey. Be prepared to distance yourself and lock yourself away from any distraction and just focus on the goal. Because I was I was in the party scene from 16, 17, modeling, disco, dancing, clubbing, like I said, I was a street dancer. All that, I've been through all of that prior to going to university, but I decided to drop everything.
What was it that gave you the nudge that you need to stop, pause, and go back to school?
Well, what happened was because of my sickness part, I had no profession. I was a mason, but then I fell sick and I couldn't practice my trade. So I had to wheel and come again. That was one thing. I had no option but to start a new profession. Second to that, because I was a bit of a rebel, and I used to move with certain fellas, and I see certain fellas get in trouble, or some even guys get killed, etc. I decided that's not the life for me. That is not the path for me. I come from too good a background, too bright. There's more opportunity out there for me, and I have to believe it's attainable. Because in those environments, you may believe, they're not going to give it to a guy like me. I suppose an example in Dominica would be, they won't give it to me because I don't have the right surname, I'm not from the right family, or I'm not from the right village. I took on the mindset that it didn't matter, it's about what I make happen for me, and push through all of those mental obstacles, and just demonstrate that I'm the best, so you must give me the opportunity.
And you're saying this to say, to some extent, that it's never over.
It's a journey, life is a journey. For
those who probably went through that initial stage that you went through in your life, being on the streets, fighting, rebel, the whole works. Even if you went to classes dressed in your rebel attire, but you were focused.
It doesn't matter.
It's never too late.
It's never too late, and I think the other thing is the youth. I think sometimes the youth are not given the opportunity, or adults don't reach out to understand the youth. And we have a lot of troubled youth, you see that everywhere globally, even in DA. But if you take time sometime to engage them differently and encourage them differently instead of cussing them, oh, look at you dressing and look at you this and that and that. You can change their thinking. And within all of those youth is perhaps another me or someone else. There is geniuses, there are gifted people, there is talent. And it's about engaging the youth in a way where we can bring that to the fore. So with me, I'll pull up on the block and I'll chat with fellas and have conversation, and then I'll sort of just twist the conversation to actually make some guys think a little bit differently, or just impart some knowledge, or just understand what's going on in their world. I'm not too big for that. Where other people find, all right, I'm too big for that. Oh, you're talking to them fellas for, you'll see so-and-so no good, and not talking about everyone.
Because you were there once. You understand what it used to be like.
Indeed, I would not write off any of the, the youth or people that are going through difficulties. Mental health is another issue. We have a lot of that in the UK. A lot of young black youth are suffering with mental health issues because we don't have the outlets for discussion and interaction, or the right level of love being shown and transmitted to them to create a shift and support. And I think in this sort of capitalist world we live in, where we focused on bigger house, bigger car, faster car, newer phone, whatever, these things are being forgotten. And I think that's sometimes we need to realign our moral compass.
And I think it was important that we shared that aspect of your story, because if at the age of 15 you dropped out of school and you were a rebel, a street guy, almost you could probably say in gangs.
I've been attacked. I was pinned up against a wall with a knife to my belly button and was hitting the head with a bottle. And and knocked out and thrown on the ground. Just left it. And that was an incident where I may not be here now. I've faced incidents where I may not be here.
Really?
Oh, I faced that. Yeah, I faced that. And see, a lot of people meet me, and I think, especially DA, I think I'm a little while after that, I free up. But because I value life, and I'm a great believer, we must try and enjoy every day, because we do not know what tomorrow brings.
So true. We're going to take a break, Robert, and we're coming right back. This is the In the Spotlight radio show. If you're hearing some kind of sound, background sound, there's some work happening on the outside. They're actually doing some work on the road, and it's some big equipment out there. And if you're hearing any background noises, that's what, in fact, you are hearing. This is the In the Spotlight radio show. Let us know that you're viewing. Say hi to us. There's Robin saying hi to you. Say hi to us. Remember, you can also send us a WhatsApp message on 275-7565. It is our pleasure to have you in the studios with us tonight for the In the Spotlight radio show. Tonight we're featuring Robert John, aka Robbie, and for those of you who choose to view, you can do so via my Facebook page at this time, and I'm also being told we're also live via the Q95 YSQFM Facebook page as well. So whichever choice is yours, you wish to view, it is up to you. That's right. Let us know that you're here and you're viewing with us. We had record views last week. We hope that at least half of you are back tonight with us for the In the Spotlight radio show. Keep it locked. We're coming right back. In the Spotlight on Q95.
How are we doing?
We're doing well. In the Spotlight, featuring people from all walks of Dominica.
We have a lot of comments.
Somebody will say they want to see the dance. We'll do the dance after. Well, after we come back from there, we'll talk about some of your.
That's what they want. People want
Yes.
the more later they want.
Yes.
Somebody said hi, Robbie.
Who's that?
Jet Li from Newland School.
Yeah, gently. Yeah, snarry. Well, we'll have the gently and Connie Home.
Boule.
A lot of people are saying cheers. Is that a British thing?
Yeah. Jet Li, Collie Home Little Club, Newland Disco.
I'm even know what they're saying. They're posting these live
Meaning
comments.
for you view after.
Oh.
Radio every Monday night from 8 p.m. in the Spotlight, featuring people from all walks of life, spotlighting the triumphs and tragedies, dreams, hopes, aspirations, untold stories. Touching human and personal side of politics, religion, sports, business, music.
What song you wanted to dance?
Yes, please.
What song? No, what song you wanted to dance?
Song. Hey Dinah. You sound like Fadina. Fadina.
What am I doing now? I need you.
You find it, hey Dinah.
It's funny.
You know what? The boy on beat is phenomenal. It's absolute. That thing freaked me out when I first heard it. I went to a CK jam in Hollywood way back when Pella was drunk. And I said, music is it's just. And even Triple K, even though the lyrics are controversial, the actual music quality, the musicianship of their songs. Yeah, it's cool. And then, what do you respect to this film, man? We're the party.
Social networks, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Messenger, Gmail, Google+. Make your comments in the box at the bottom of each news story on the news page.
We did it on Facebook, right? How we did it?
Cyrus Raphael watching.
Website. Browse through our interesting pages in your Q Family photo gallery. Listen to live audio. Watch intriguing videos on QTV on our homepage and in our video gallery. Q95 has long gone global.
What happened was when I came here, I watched how people dance. I couldn't do it. I watched that sway. I watched the girls doing their thing. I watched the fellas doing that. So I'm like, okay, so I started copying it like, okay, so I get that bit. So right now I forget the next bit. And I'm like, okay, well the women do the legs thing, so I can't do that because that's not man. You can't do that as a man. I realised that. So I did variations where you flick your leg or you flick a leg and you put the roll in it. So then you know the guys can't say, oh, you're acting like a woman. And then I just started adding other music to it. From my hip hop, I mean my dance and so on.
We're back. It's 8:51, the time in the studios here at Q95 FM Radio. We thank you for choosing us. We thank you for tuning in to the In the Spotlight radio show in whatever part of the world that you are. Good evening to you, and thank you again for being here. Those of you who are viewing via Facebook Live, as I said, just say something, let us know that you're there if you're listening and tuned in to the program. It's always nice to let us know that you're there, right? And we're back with Robert John Robbie, and we were talking before the break about Robbie's life in the UK, at least in the initial ages, his teenage years. I think somebody wanted me to ask you a few questions here quickly. Let me just see. Can you ask him his age when he transitioned? How old, that transition sounds funny. How old he was when he did, I'm not sure what exactly that means, but they also wanted to know how old you were when you fell sick and went back to university, and how many GCs you had by then.
Well, that's a lot of questions. I'm not that
Yes.
intelligent. No, joking. So basically, I went back and studied when I was around 18, 19, and I felt sick around 21, 22 when I had those, and I started the transition to university at 24, 23, 24, and I started when I was 25. That's when I started university.
Okay, and the person wanted to know, I'm not sure if that's information you want to share in terms of your GCs.
Oh, I only had two.
At the time, prior to.
I had none. 15 I had 0, and then I had 2 when I was working on the building sites. I've got no A levels.
And so that was maths and English?
That's it.
Oh.
And then I did the access course. In the UK, once you're a mature
What's
student,
an access course?
as a mature student, you do an access course which is designed for mature students to learn the fundamentals and to a point that can prove that you're able to study at that level.
Okay.
And that's what I had.
And then you went to university?
With just 2, with maths and English, and an access course in a local college.
And you graduated from university with?
At first, I was number 1 my honour roll.
You were number 1 in your honor
Number
roll.
1. When they call that man Robert John, first class honours. And I step out alone, first man on my actual degree subject.
Congratulations to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I nailed it. Yeah, nailed it.
That is just awesome.
I mean, even to the point where I asked my lecturer, should I study for a master's, because I didn't have any previous, I didn't have A levels, etc. And he said, no, from once you've done that, you've proved your ability, especially when you put all the other factors into this. And when I graduated, I went straight onto IBM's global finance system as a programmer. And then I went Citibank and bang, I've worked for large organisations continuously.
And we're going to talk about that in a while. But we have to talk about something before we get into some serious business here, Robbie. A little birdie told me that you are, yes, and actually, I got messages, and first person's posted it on Facebook, and apparently there's something you love to do.
Well, I think one of the things that saved me is music and dance. And I go to euphoric ecstasy on the dance floor.
Euphoric ecstasy.
And I went for a job interview at Deutsche Bank, and the guy asked me, because at the bottom of my resume it said that dance, and I told him I go to euphoric ecstasy when I'm on the dance floor with music. And he's like, wow.
That's an interesting way to put it.
But
very descriptive.
Yeah, because sometimes I just close my eyes.
Euphoric ecstasy.
Yeah, I just close my eyes, me one on the dance
and you're in
floor,
your own world.
My own world, and I'll go till daybreak. Energizer Bunny, I'll dance every tune from midnight to the sunrise. And Jet Li will know. I went to a Jet Li function in Collyho, and I actually left, and up to my knees was soaking in water. I sweat so much.
I believe you.
Sweat to my knees. All my underwear had to wring water. That's how much I would.
Do you dance every day?
I think, I don't know if I have a bit of I wouldn't say an illness, but sometimes if I just hear a beat, my body starts to move. It just
moves automatically. Yeah. Your body starts to move. So if you hear this.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You want me to dance? Let me show you a few strokes.
Yes, you have to show us something. Kanisha, you have to let the viewer see this, okay?
But before I get into
yes, tell me about it.
I'll tell you a little bit about it. I first came to Dominica. I saw CK at Collyho, maybe 2001.
CK?
Yeah, Pelham was on the drums, and this bouillon beat, I was like, oh my god. I was into hip hop, I'd heard house music, all kind of other music. I said, this is amazing. And I just started to freak out. But I didn't have the right moves. So I was watching the guys who would like Wule and let me stand up. It's easier if I'm stood up. So I was watching the guys, and the guys were doing this thing. Okay, and the girls' legs, I see the girls' legs popping. And I'm like, well, that looks like a bit of a chicken dance, but that's not for me. So I watched the guys. Yeah. And I followed them, and then I learned how it was doing the move.
Right.
And then I just advanced it, and I do it on the tip of my toes. I go down, I flick out a leg, I put a roll in it, a wave, I do a head movement, and I just took it to a whole new.
Okay, so we're gonna give you some music. All right, we're gonna give you some music. We're not gonna let you sweat too much. We're not gonna let you sweat too much. Here we go.
get it off, you get it off, you get it off. But you know, for Dinah, you know, one of you have to join me. For Dinah, come on. Come on, for Dinah, come
You
on.
want me to join?
For Dinah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's
For
see.
Dinah.
Let me see if I can join. Listen, I have to close the mic.
Don't worry.
Okay, what do we do?
Oh my god.
Hey, for Dinah.
Oh my goodness.
The workout.
Woo.
Brilliant workout. Can't go wrong.
You made me move from my mic. Kanisha, did you get that?
I did.
Oh my god, remind me to edit that.
Oi.
Oh my goodness. I am not going to watch this ever. Oh my goodness. But you enjoy that.
Well, I think it's good for the soul. I think if a lot more people danced.
Do you need a moment?
No,
You okay? All right.
Don't worry, I'm sure PMH is not far, is it? But the thing is, it's very good for us, you know, dancing. It's a good form of expression. And I think it's something that really helped me. Because when I was frustrated or stressed out or feeling tense, you know, like you young people get aggressive, when you free up and dance, you're not aggressive anymore.
No.
And I think it's a good thing to encourage. It's good for the health. I think it's kept me, even though I'm big, I think it's kept me quite healthy.
Okay.
A woman said to me, diabetes will never take you, you know, boss. And I said, why? Yeah, sugar don't have a chance inside you, you know. She said, you're burning it one time.
Oh my goodness.
And it's true, my blood count is low, my sugar count is very low. So,
Alright,
yeah.
we're gonna take a break from this.
No problem.
Definitely,
We can get our
we
breath
need,
back.
we need
Sure.
to take a break. We're gonna take a little more of the eyeliner, but we're not gonna dance.
I got
Kanisha, you made me do that? Or was that you, Rob?
I have to make it a cup. Some water for you. Let's make it a cup.
That was fun. I enjoyed that. Oh my goodness, yes, I come on. Rob will pass that. Yes, Kofi, I know I cannot edit alive. I know I'm doomed to this, right?
Touching
Well,
human
come on.
politics, religion,
You know,
sports,
over here, I remember one
music,
day,
culture, the
women kept
media,
asking me,
and
where am I
the
going? They asked me, where are you going? Where are you going?
going?
Asking me. And then another woman said, you're going to tent tonight? I'm like, maybe. Why? Then in the end, I said, a woman, the sixth woman asked me, she said, you're going to tent? Maybe she goes, I picked for you, you do. I said, sorry? I picked for you. I said, sorry?
What that?
She said, mister, because why do women keep asking me that all night?
Oh
She said,
my
I love to
goodness.
watch you dance. She said, I just watch you, you do.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wait. Trouble.
Oh, that was fun. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that.
Spotlights featuring people from all walks of Dominica. Spotlighting their talent,
Anyway, we're gonna get to some more serious stuff.
Sure.
Not that it was a serious topic.
No, different.
and personal side of all people in politics, religion, sports, business,
Very
music,
interesting.
culture, the media, and more. Getting to know our farmers, public servants, youth, the ordinary Dominican. Listen to their stories. No limitations, no restrictions, no rules barred.
Definitely not.
Issues and relevant situations.
We'll have to do a version for Diana.
I tell you.
Every Monday night from 8 p.m.
Okay, we're back to sanity now. Okay. 3 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. And this is the In the Spotlight radio show on Q95. We do this for you every Monday night. And we're here tonight with Robert John. Robert's born in the UK, but with Dominican parentage. In fact, his parents and his entire family come from the community of Salisbury. And for those of you who missed it, we were just having a little, going on there in the studios, and it was quite fun. None of us are dead yet. Dinah. Rob, who decided he wanted that song, by the way.
What it sound like? For Dinah?
It sounds like for Dinah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Need a remix. I think Seeker needs to do it for Dinah remix.
You should suggest that. All right. Remember, if you would like to send us a WhatsApp message, you can do so via 275-7565. You can also comment on our Facebook Live as well. We're just happy to have our listeners and our viewers tuned in and locked in with us. So let us talk, Rob, about life in the UK before you decided to come to Dominica for some time. Okay. So you got your degree, first class honors, proud parents, proud of what you were able to achieve, coming from where you had come from. I am sure you were driven and motivated by that.
Oh yeah, definitely. So from that point there, I received employment very quickly. I worked on IBM's global factoring system, a finance system they use for resellers. I was a programmer, started computer programming from then. Quickly moved on to Citibank, working on the Diners Club charge card system as a programmer developer. Then I was fortunate enough to get a job in the music industry, working for EMI Records.
EMI?
Yeah, I worked for EMI on all their royalty systems, licensee, royalty accounting systems, royalty accounting system for all the artists. So when we say artists, we're talking like the likes of Elton John, Freddie Mercury, etc. All their money was going through this thing, and all the tech that was managing it and processing statement runs, etc. I was the main guy, technical guy on that system. Great fun, parties galore. I think I spoke to you about the fact that every time there was a #1 hit, there was a big auditorium filled with champagne, wine, beer, water, and chocolate gâteaux that were just mountainous high, and you drink until go back to work, well Willie, and then sign off, log off early, go home, and every week we're praying for a #1, and at the time it was Spice Girls, Robbie Williams, and it was another super group. Coldplay, that was it. It was during that period. So there was a lot of #1s.
A lot of #1s and a lot of parties.
Oh, a lot of parties.
A lot of champagne and drinking.
Man, we used to get free tickets to go to events. So, Snoop Dogg, all those sort of artists, free tickets. Anything on, what label was it at the time? I can't remember, but it was one of the US labels these guys were on. Every time they came over, free tickets. One of the great parties I went to was Beverly Knight was doing a showcase, and Boy George was there, and Mel B of the Spice Girls was there with her entourage, and her husband Jimmy Coles at the time, and I must admit she looked good. She had a leopard skin catsuit, she just had the baby.
I love her.
All her stomach had got flat, everything was in the right spot, and I was at the bar. So what happened earlier in the evening, I walked in and I ordered a drink. And when I ordered the drink, because I had my EMI Records pass, I shouldn't have been there in the first place.
You should not have been there. You were not invited.
Well, because of a little V&egg in me, I said, let me turn up with my pass and see if I can get inside, because I know it's alive. So I was at the front and I got the security. He said, your name's not on the list and blah, blah, blah. I said, look, can't you see my pass? I'm EMI Records, Robert John.
That's it.
And then I was like, no, sorry, And then my friend, one of the A&R guys, Beverly Knight's A&R guy, just happened to pass and said, he's one of our guys, let him in. I'm inside.
You inside.
I ordered a drink. The woman said, Beverly Knight? I said, yes. I don't know why she said it. I just said yes. She passed me the drink and she turned her back and she go.
You didn't have to pay for
I
it.
had to pay. I said, wow. So if you go to the bar and say, Beverly Knight, you don't have to pay for drinks.
That's right.
So I started. Back to the bar, Beverly Knight.
Are you drinking?
So next minute, I'm at the bar. Melby's at the bar right next to me there. And the husband's there. And I said, Ginny. I said, your wife just had a baby. Doesn't she look gorgeous? And he's like, yes, and she's smiling.
So you're making conversation?
Yeah, I'm making conversation with Melby and Jimmy.
You're not supposed to be at the people's party?
No, I'm not supposed to be at the people's party. I'm not supposed to be drinking free drink, but I'm there. So we're having a conversation at the bar, and she's got this diamond encrusted gold Rolex and whatever, bleeding. So she's ordering drink after drink after drink. Trays of drink are moving from the bar to where her little entourage section was. And so she turns around to me, because she's kept me there waiting some time. I'm next to me to be served. So she turns to me and says, oh, excuse me, can I buy you a drink? I said, well, it's okay, darling, it's okay. I don't pay for drinks here. Starring! I felt like a boss. Even though I'm broke, she's loaded, multi-million, whatever. But I felt good.
Yes.
And I'm begging for a drink.
So you turned down a drink from Melby?
Yeah, I turned down the drink. And I'm paying for a drink.
Because you big shots.
I don't pay for drinks in here. So that was one episode of numerous. Another one while I was working there, someone said, oh, there's a group from America just arrived at doing a showcase down the road. Some new group that's going to be big. Oh, what's their name? Oh, I think it's Destiny Child. I said, look, Destiny who? They said, yeah, they got some gun Beyonce knows and da-da-da. I'm like, can I get in there? I said, yes. One of the other guys was organising it. So I drove down to a place called Cafe de Paris in London. I had a company vehicle and I still got my EMI pass again. I never went nowhere without my pass.
Your EMI pass.
EMI Records pass, yes. Robert John.
Yes.
I turned up, they have to let me in again. And then I went in there and I thought, they are not too good to me, they're so okay. And I left. Destiny's Child.
You didn't stay for Destiny's Child.
I played too heavy.
Yes.
Foolish me, eh?
You should have.
Stop me.
Tell me about the street dancing and how you ended up in the Paul McCartney video.
Okay. Well, what happened was, with the street dancing thing, I've been dancing from small. That's just part of me. Well, not even dancing. I'm an old school entertainer. From school, I used to be trying to get in plays, but yeah, again, because he was this young black kid, I couldn't get a position on shows at school, etc. Anyway, when hip hop came out in America and it hit England, that just took me by storm. New Edition and Malcolm McLaren, Buffalo Girls, etc. So I started this body popping and all this stuff. I got to the hip hop scene, and I danced at the opening of one of the movies called Breakdance in my local area. And then at the same time, growing up in the area, I had problems, that same incident, with these guys with knives and bottles, etc. I decided to quit that area and find out what did it mean to be a young black guy in London. And I headed for the home of hip hop, which is a place called Covent Garden. And I met some guys in my area who come from another area who were great dancers, came to all the girls in the club. I said, I want a piece of that action. Where are you? They tell me Covent Garden. I find myself there. It's an hour away from where I live. And the street dancers and etc. etc. So I still watch them and learn a bit. Then one day one of the guys spotted me and said, come work with us. I was busking Trafalgar Square, put a hat down. We had a little big beatbox, put it down, hit play, dance in the street, pennies, pounds, and then you go and buy your KFC or your McDonald's. That's how it started. And then that group of guys became the best street dancers, hip-hop dancers, jazz, soul, in, I would say, Europe, outside of America. And I was one of that cohort. So what used to happen, we used to get offered videos. So basically, one of the guys might say, I've been asked to do a video for, Paul McCartney, for example, and they said, I need a crew. So I said, right, you need 10 guys. Are you in? Yeah, no, whatever. So I was in this crew for the Paul McCartney video.
Nice.
So I turned up, I had my clothes on. Everybody got picked except me.
Oh my.
The guy producer said, no, I don't like what you're wearing. You're in it. So you should go sit over there. So I sat, so I went sat, this was in the Hippodrome in London, so I sat in the seat on my own, and I looked up, and Paul McCartney's wife was there, Linda McCartney. I'll say Sir Paul McCartney, as he's truly known as. So I went and sat with Linda McCartney, and just had a conversation. So this young kid, I'm like, 19 or so, this mature woman, and this woman was amazingly pleasant, and we had a great discussion. She's into animal rights, etc. And then every now and again, Paul McCartney, when they say cut, he'd come and join us. So I'm sitting with Linda McCartney, Sir Paul McCartney, just talking, telling him I'm not in the video because the producer, production guy doesn't think my attire is suitable.
What were you wearing?
At the time, I think it was a jeans, I had a nice Nike shoes on and a nice jacket. To me, I thought I looked good because that was clothes I wear on the road, but it wasn't applicable to what they were trying to create on stage. So at lunchtime, I had £50 in my pocket. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go Chinatown. This is right near Chinatown in London. And I bought a Chinese suit. Yeah, I bought a Chinese pants and jacket like a panda. I was like a Chinese panda.
Right.
And I went back and I said to the producer, look, I'm showing this, put it on. I said, well, is that okay? He went, yeah, that'll do, great. So for the second half of the shoot,
you're in the video.
So the video, doing recording. And after all that, I got the best bit in the whole video. Where the music's playing and Paul McCartney, Sir Paul McCartney, I stand corrected, is leaning over my shoulder trying to copy the moves that I'm doing at the time as he's singing. And it's just ironic. Yeah.
Which one of the videos?
I'm not telling you.
But you cannot not tell us.
You probably won't find it. No, people will find it. But it's a remix of a tune that he done called No More Lonely Nights.
No More Lonely Nights?
Yeah, way back. It's nice.
Okay, we shall Google that. We will look.
Well, there's so many versions, it's hard to find it.
No More Lonely
And
Nights.
I'm deep in it, in the background somewhere.
And you in it. She'll find it. She will find it. Yes.
So anyway, that was one of the videos. I've done others with the Solar High School Sylvester, and there was other lesser artist stuff. But the guys I dance with, they've worked with everyone. George Michael, Elton, Bobby Brown. I've supported Bobby Brown on tour. And what happened from the dancing experience was, as hip hop progressed, some of these guys danced for Nelson Mandela, whatever. But as it progressed, people went into other areas like DJing or MCs, and I wanted to be a rapper so badly.
Yeah.
But I couldn't rap.
You
My
couldn't
flow
rap?
was whack.
Oh
I had no
my.
flow. So then the R&B era come with the R. Kelly and the Jodeci. So I started singing. I found my niche.
No rapping,
No.
but you could sing.
I could sing.
Yeah.
And I could write too.
Uh-huh.
And part of that journey, I met, through friends of friends, I actually met Ron Lowry from Maze. Frankie Beverly and Maze. I don't know if you're aware of who they are.
I know Maze.
Yeah, Frankie Beverly and Maze, yeah.
Okay.
So Maze is Ron Lowry and then Frankie Beverly. These are friends of Marvin Gaye. So Marvin Gaye is the man that put these guys on, and I now sit with Earth, Wind and Fire as the second greatest soul band, So I actually started working as a songwriter for Ron Lowry in London. And so whenever Frankie Beverly and Maze came into London, I'd get a call, go to the concerts, and they performed at the Royal Albert Hall. And when they performed there, they stayed at the Royal Kensington Garden Hotel and walked to Royal Albert Hall in an entourage, cortege. And I was with them, and we got to Royal Albert Hall, and friends of mine are like, hold on a minute, what are you doing with those guys? I said, like, they're friends of mine. And people were in shock. And we went to the Royal Box, champagne, and we were facing the main stage, brilliant night. And this was, at the time, just around where I started to, I wasn't EMI at that time, but when I started writing, I just started my degree. And what happened was, I took a 2-week lockout in studio writing when I was supposed to be studying.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, then when my grades went up, then I realised, it was on for a first, music was done. But that was that journey at that time.
And you made a living out of that? You made some money out of that?
At the time we were professional dancers, so we were paid for videos, shows. I danced all over London, places like Zenons in Piccadilly. We were paid for shows. So clubs would always bring dancers into the mix, and yeah, we paid, and continued as a profession until changed directions.
Are you still into music?
I am. I'm actually working now with a guy, Max Cyrus Music, who's actually working closely with Liam Nolan. He got a Grammy for Adele's album. So
She found it.
Oh my gosh, she found it. Oh my god. And you found me as well?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let me see.
You see it? You seen it?
Just a sec.
It's out.
There you are!
It's me!
In a black and white Chinese
But I'm not lying,
outfit.
but I tell you. But I tell you, it's me with support. I tell you.
It's right there. It's right there. It's right there.
Well done for finding it so quick.
Oh my goodness, Felicia found it.
But I can dance even better now.
This
Never
is
mind.
crazy.
But no, but I just, through life, I've just been in very strange situations.
It's cool.
Met amazing people.
So if anybody thought you were not speaking the truth.
Well, the thing is, you see, that's the thing with me, because my journey is an intriguing one. I think sometimes I mention things and people feel, oh, this guy is just, he's not telling the truth, but I know it's my journey, right? I don't mind if other people feel that way. Because all those things are the things that make me the person who I am.
Absolutely.
So, and I think from a young age, being around people like him and others, when I am alongside dignitaries or senior executives, I don't get flustered.
Yes.
I don't get starstruck around artists, because I try and engage people as people.
Interesting.
And done.
And that's it.
That's it. We're all people.
Correct. Back to the music.
So with the music thing.
Before Kadisha interrupts.
Sure. So with the music thing, I'm working with Matt Cyrus. I've written a new song, a couple of songs to go in the studio when I go back. I've got a new artist named Rob Soul, because I'm a soul crooner.
You're a soul
I'm a
crooner. Croon for me, Robbie. Croon for me.
Well, I croon for you already. You want more
I want
crooning?
more crooning.
Okay, let me
What
think
can
of
you
it.
do? I want something old school.
Always and forever, each moment with you. It sounds like a dream to me that somehow came true. But I know. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And your voice is what, baritone?
It's baritone. I've got quite a strong baritone bellow inside me. And I love to sing too. Therapy. I always sing when I get fed up, angry, I'll hum a bit or sing. I used to be with church singing. We're central. I sing happy birthday, people coming in.
Well, for the whole time you came here tonight, you were singing.
Yeah, that's almost another part of therapy for me. I think as a child, with all the nonsense in the UK and how I felt, singing and dancing, all the things that heal me. And people think I'm a bit crazy sometimes, because I can be extroverted.
Probably you may come across a bit.
Indeed, but I'm happy to be an extrovert.
Yeah.
Because it makes me, it warms my soul.
Yeah.
And things I feed my soul with.
And I'm sure it makes other people happy as well.
Yeah.
Because the moment you came here, if I was in a bad mood at all, before we even started the program, from the moment you came here, you just started to feel, we were waiting for them to open up for us, and you just started to sing, and it was really heartwarming. Thank you for that too, though, at the beginning. It made it so much easier to come here and have this conversation with you tonight. We're going to take a break, Robbie. We're going to take a break, and we're coming right back. This is the In the Spotlight radio show. And again, I always want to thank folks for tuning in and for choosing us. They have other options, but those of you who decided to be here with us, we really do appreciate it. So we thank you for viewing, we thank you for listening, and don't forget, as we go to the break, that if you have suggestions for persons you think who could be on the program, you send us an email to the inthespotlight.da@gmail.com email address, or you send me a WhatsApp on my alternate number that I use for stuff like this at 275-7565. You let me know the person's contact and your reason for recommending the person that you think should be on the program. It could be you, and don't be afraid if you think that you should be a guest on the program. Don't be afraid to send me a message telling me that you think you would be. You could say, Fidina, I think I could be a good guest on the program, and this is the reason why. And that works quite fine for me. Once you can give me a good reason why you should be on the show, then we can certainly work with that. We're coming right back after a short break. Give it a
Keep it locked.
In the spotlight on Q95
You don't
FM.
sing
And tragedies.
it. Singing actually reduces your
Hopes,
blood pressure.
aspirations.
It does?
Untold stories. Touching the
might be
human
all
personal
fun
side
and
of
fun.
people in
What they say? Even a birthday request, I've seen happy birthday.
ordinary
We do, mate.
Listen to their stories. No limitations.
They think you're on a
no
birthday, they're
restrictions.
like, oh.
No holds barred. In the
Happy
spotlight,
birthday.
also spotlight interesting topics, issues, and relevant situations.
Jody
Don't
True
miss.
True
In
says
the
hi.
spotlight on Q95 FM radio.
Hello?
She got my cake ready for tomorrow.
Yeah. In the spotlight.
Tomorrow's your birthday?
No, but I'm having birthday cake made by Jodie.
Okay.
Because it's Jodie.
Why not?
Oh, is that Jody?
Yeah, she's making my
Jody's
cake.
chilling fun.
On Q95
Get my
FM
cake
radio.
tomorrow.
Every Monday night from 8
I see her,
in the spotlight.
her photos
Featuring people
sometimes.
From all walks of life and life.
Cakes.
Cakes are crazy.
Yes,
Amazing. And
You
it
need to
tastes-
send me some cake, Jody.
And it tastes as good as they look too, that's the thing.
You need to send me some cake samples.
In politics, religion, sports, business, music, culture, the media, and more. Getting to know our farmers, public servants.
We, she said yes, working on it now. Awesome.
Listen to their stories. No limitations, no restrictions, no holds barred. In the spotlight,
The
we'll
number
also
you're calling
spotlight
is the number that I'm
interesting
live on.
topics, issues and relevant situations.
Yes,
Don't
that is
miss
the phone that I
In
use
the
to go
Spotlight
live.
on Q95 FM radio every Monday night from 8
No, but I cannot do that because it's live. That's why I have another number. I'm fine.
We have to play that.
What's that?
We're not going home.
Do you think so? Okay. And goodbye. I have to go back to my program now. I will. Okay. Let me tell you who is listening. Give me this.
My family made it.
Oui.
I told you.
Oui.
What did he say? What did he say?
We're back at 26 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. That's why you have to listen to the In the Spotlight radio show, you know. We take it seriously when we have to, and we have a little fun when we have to as well. What just happened there? Oh my goodness. Yes, we're good now? Awesome. All right. Yes, so we're back and we're chatting with Robbie. So yes, Naren Murphy, I was just being serenaded. You've never serenaded me, so it has to take somebody else to come to serenade me. So don't be jealous, okay? All right. So you got into the music business and you actually working on some music stuff right now.
Yeah,
that probably somewhere along the way we'll get to know a little bit more about that.
Definitely.
All right. During that time, after EMI,
Sure.
you went on to what?
Yeah, EMI, then from there I went to debt recovery systems for supporting the financial industry across the UK. And then I went to Universal Music Global Publishing in IT. That was another fun with parties and free. I mean, we do work as well, don't get me wrong. But the benefits of the job, the perks were free new CDs, free parties, and Universal Music Group is everybody at the time. You know, it's a huge organisation. But I had great fun there, and I think the biggest thing for me there was when NBC bought Universal Pictures. I designed and implemented the technology that apportioned and managed all the royalties across both entities. And that was the first big project I did there. And the second big project was suspense accounts, managing money in suspense accounts. They could allocate, a large sum of money in a suspense account to many artists across the world. And that set me up for a move in my career. And I moved to Dominica really, and my first sort of heavy involvement in project management and managing projects in the tech space. But in that job, I wanted to finish my boss off. I wanted to squeeze his neck, to be honest. Basically, the glass ceiling you know, the glass ceiling effect. I suffered racism in the workplace there. The management didn't deal with it very well. And also my best friend was going through some hard times. And my boss, basically, they wouldn't accept that I was, what's the word? They wouldn't accept that this black guy had the knowledge to develop a complex system.
Like what you did.
Yeah, they couldn't handle it. So they were actually trying to block my design because they didn't believe it was right. And so I proved it was, and then my boss hijacked the design.
Oh my.
And then patronised me on top. And the veer egg in me, it came out. So I wanted to finish off Mister. So I said, before I finish Mister in this place, the best place for me, let me go DA. You know, I've been coming here, my dad, you know, had passed prior to that, and I started coming here on a regular basis. And, you know, it's interesting with that, I came here in 2001, and that was the year my father died, and he was supposed to be on the same flight to DA. And, you know, when I landed, one of the first people that I met when I hit Salisbury was my Auntie Meritin, which is Sai's mum, who is the closest relative my dad had in terms of relationship. And I cried, man. I cried like a baby on Sai's mum's shoulder because of the experience of my dad passing. He was a die-hard Dominican. I mean, this man, like I say, his nickname was Dashing. And he just was the epitome of a DA man. And, you know, to the point where when he passed, we went to the High Commission, we borrowed the flag, and we draped the Dominican flag over his coffin for his funeral, etc. And when we buried him, you know, we buried him with a small Dominican flag in his hand. Because he said even if he lived a day in his house, he wanted to build his own home. And he said even if he spent one night in it, it'd be worth it. And he never made it. He never made it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that stirred something in me as well. That it's like I wanted to fulfill his legacy for him in a strange way. And then I've taken so much pressure in the UK. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to come and try to come to DA and see what I can do. And that was also at the same time when the PM was in Newham Town Hall in England saying, come back home, you know, add to the value, add to the flavour of what's going on in DA, bring skills, etc. And I thought, you know what, I'm advancing my technical career, I believe I have technical skills. But not only that, I can invest in other industries, whatever. Just come. I landed in DA. And then that's where, and my best friend just said, I said, I'm coming. He said, no, I'm coming too.
Your best friend?
Yeah, white guy.
Who is British?
White guy.
White fella?
He'd been to DA once before because I said I was considering it. He said, I'm coming. Simple as that.
So he packed up and came to Dominica?
He got here before me. I told the fella, listen, right, I'll go down in such and such a month and you come after. He said, well, I'm gone. He was gone. He was in Salisbury before I even got to Salisbury for good. So he doesn't play. This guy is a strong entrepreneur and he does what he says. He says what he does. So he was here. So I came down and then we were looking at some projects, property, etc. But in the interim, we thought, you know what? He wanted a restaurant. That was one of his passions. He was a foodie. We said, we're central. No, we said we'll set up a restaurant. And the name was came from Spags. He wasn't aware, but in conversation he said, we're central. Salisbury, we're central.
Who said that?
Spags, Hector John, my cousin. And we thought, you know what, that's a good name for a restaurant. We're central. Some said, so done. We said, we're central. And
I heard you all had the best burgers.
We had the best burgers that have been consumed in Dominica and probably the Eastern Caribbean and beyond. I was a taster and I know good food. I know good food. And basically I tasted everything and made sure that it was as it should be. The staff were great, you know.
Did your friend have any restaurant?
No, we had no experience. We had zero experience in being restaurateurs. What we did, we bought a Gordon Ramsay book and we read
Chef Gordon Ramsay.
We read a Gordon Ramsay book and we said, okay, we took what we needed from the book and so said, so done. We're running a restaurant with no experience.
And your chef?
No, we had local girls.
You had local girls cooking?
You know, had to work with people.
Yes, yes.
So he worked in the kitchen, I worked front office. I said to him, I've got to do front office because when troublesome fellas come, I have to be in the front.
Yes.
Because I know he's not I'm not medical, you know. So I'm in the front. But obviously, I think the most important thing about it was we wanted to create an environment where everybody was a VIP. from the young kid graduating and coming to dinner, a young guy with his girlfriend on their first date, to an official, and make them all feel welcome, and they can congregate under one roof with no pretense, and the level of service was high. So we treated everyone like a VIP. You know, so much so, I think the food was one element, but the atmosphere we created was the secondary element that just brought customers flowing through the door.
So what happened?
Well, my best friend got sick, and he went back to the UK, and I was not the restaurateur. I was doing it, you know, as a collective. And when he went with his partner's son, so that it was a team, half the team had gone, not just him. So it was harder for me to run, and also it wasn't my passion. But having done that in Dominica, I wasn't aware of the impact and who we get to meet. I mean, the PM came there for his birthday. Well, at the time, I think it was his fiancée. She booked, and he came there for a meal. You know, Salisbury, West Central meal. So, you know, shops, but he's there. You know, we have all Norris Prevost, all these guys, because he's local. He's at the Woodhouse down in Macushry there, and Mary Jane area. You know, many of them would sit at the table with a bottle of wine and just discussing things, world events, whatever. You know, we'd have lawyers coming through, we'd have business owners, we'd have students. So it was just a rich movement of people and rich conversation. And it was for everyone. There was no element of division. It was unity in action.
What is going on? What is going on at the building now? Nothing much.
Maria decided to just give it a shake up. So there's no more.
It's no more.
No, it's a journey. At the time, it served its purpose, and it was a great introduction for me into the Dominican society. And
there's one or two people who actually messaged, and even on the Facebook posting actually said they miss.
Every time I come to Dominica, everybody, you know, a lot of people say we miss it. When are you opening again? Will you open again? We miss it. We miss the burgers. We miss. But you know, sometimes, you know, like I say, life is a journey, and I'm the kind of guy where the things I do change. As I change, my aspirations change, what I get access to change, and what my heart is driven to do changes. So that is just, I think, it's a part of history to me. But you never know, never say never. It may be that West Central today, something else tomorrow, in a similar vein. But that's not, I think I've grown a lot since then.
I'm a foodie too. Yeah. Maybe we could do something.
Well,
maybe.
Who
knows? You know. Hey.
Never say never,
right? Right. Was it after that you got employed with government, or did it happen
at the same time?
Yeah.
Basically, an opportunity came up through discussions with various individuals. I think some people were shocked to realise that I had a profession prior to coming to DA and being the dancing burger man, because I think I was associated with Woolley and burgers, and the other aspects of my profession were pretty much another.
I like how you say Woolley.
Yeah, not my way, but yeah. So basically, I got offered an opportunity in ICT, and that was just amazing. I mean, coming from the UK, where you're in a role that has a lot of depth, but not as much breadth. In Dominica, you have to have a lot more breadth in your skill set. And I was, say, 60-40, maybe 65-35 fit. But the skills I had were in demand. And I managed to do some great work with the guys there, you know, and under the management of Michel Pierre. That's great work. I mean, in the first year, Dominica had the highest rise in the implementation of public sector technology, web technology. Second in the world with Russia. Russia had the highest gain in the world, and Dominica was second. So it was the highest in the Caribbean, the highest in the developed world, and that was in my first year. And beyond that, you know, I worked on great projects such as the registry system with Aussie Welsh. So all the new birth certificates, I played a part in the design of those and support the implementation of all that technology.
Cool.
So I feel really proud. That's a lasting legacy for me in terms of what I've achieved here. And I got accommodation for that work as well from the registry. Joe Commodore gave me accommodation for my efforts there. And also the multi-purpose ID system, which was a very controversial project in the political arena, but not in the technical arena. You know, that was under E-Grip, working with E-Grip guys as well. And I was the country lead I was the country specialist. So, you know, a document, like a 100-page document, I was given that, like, Robbie, that's you, you know, go through it and then discuss.
Execute, yeah.
And I went through it and et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, and the business registry, Sergeant Julian, I worked alongside the business registry, and we were the only country in the OECS to implement successfully. No one else could do it. So that was another massive project. That was how do I put it? It gave Dominica to show. It gave the opportunity for Dominica to show its true capabilities in the technical space, because you know the work we did on the multi-purpose idea, the registry project, the World Bank were on radar, and a set of delegates from the World Bank actually flew to Dominica to speak to me and the team.
You did quite some important work in that role.
Yeah, and I was doing advisory for technical work in the Ministry of Health. I went on workshops in the OECS and contributed extensively. So, you know, Dominica was building a technical profile in the OCS.
And you were a part of that.
And I was a part of that. And that was, you know, when I talk about being from overseas or diaspora, I don't like the word diaspora, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, right? But to be a part of the contribution, I just felt so good. I just felt, you know, I was actually in an environment where I didn't feel I was being discriminated against for my colour. Yeah, sometimes for being British, you know, you get a bit of that, but to be able to contribute, and it's tangible contributions, and it's recognised at a very high level in the country and beyond, was so uplifting for me. I mean, that's probably the most uplifting part of my career. And it allowed me...
And that's the work you did in Dominica.
That's the work I did in Dominica. I was basically a database development specialist for government. I had access to data across all ministries, education, housing, talk about that. I was involved across the board. I've just mentioned some of the bigger pieces. But yeah, you know, there's great guys there, you know, and obviously Jean-Pierre. And yeah, just working hard to deliver a lot of tech. You know, it's a very challenging environment. It was great. And it's even beyond that. I had radio shows. I was on radio shows for the government. We did tech road shows. We went to villages all around the island. You know, showing, you know, Granny how to log onto a laptop. You know, doing little tech workshops in schools. I went to the East Coast, to the high school. Is it North East Comprehensive on the East? I went there and did a talk on internet safety, and very engaging youngsters. You know, all these things were so uplifting. I really felt I was just giving back, and it, you know, I could have been in the UK earning a lot more money, but it wasn't as rewarding. So I was really grateful for that.
So what happened at the end of that?
Well, at the end of that, I felt that I'd done as much as I could based on the projects that were in hand at the time, and I were offered opportunities abroad to progress my career, and I took them.
You took them?
And personal reasons as well.
Okay.
So I went back to the UK, and fortunate enough, based on reputation, and ex-colleagues offered some great work. So I engaged sort of agile principles, some concepts within technology, like new modern concepts, in how to deliver technology in efficient ways, and you know, got certificates in those new areas. And I come back again now to try and engage in regional work, regional projects in the technical space, based on the new skills that I have gained overseas to contribute yet again.
And we will talk a bit more about the return to England in a while, but we have to open up the lines for those who may want to call to contribute to the program. I'll give them the numbers, and we're also going to talk about Hollywood TV. And there's something you have to clarify there. I'm going to give you the opportunity to clarify as well, because I think that is critical.
Sure.
So I'm going to give the numbers: 4493095, 4493096, 4493097, and the overseas line is 305-432-9624. So we will take calls in a while. I know the lines are already lighting up, but we will take calls in a while. But I have to talk to Rob about Hollywood TV and his involvement in Hollywood TV.
Yes.
And for a moment, I thought he was the gentleman who, you know, Let us talk, Rob, about Hollywood TV.
Okay, Hollywood TV. Now this is another, I mean my life has so many twists and turns. Anyway, I was away for a couple of weeks or a few weeks. I was in the UK, came back to Dominica. And then some people started to stop me in the street and call me Mr. Hart. So what?
What are they calling you?
Mr. Hart.
Mr. Hart, that was the name.
Mr. Who? So I'm thinking, I don't know Mr. Hart, and no, not Mr. Hart. So it carried on for a while. I thought I need to find out who this guy is, but I left it. So one day I was in Save-A-Lot, and a woman said, Mr. Hart, Mr. Hart. And I said, I'm not Mr. Hart. And her friend was with her and said, no, that's not Mr. Hart, that's the man from West Central. And then she said, why? She said, if I do hashing Mr., I would have got it. And I said, you know what? I think I need to find out who this Mr. Hart fella is before I find myself in a problem. So someone told me Channel 13, and I watched the channel and I saw the number come up. He was looking for people to work with, etc. So I called the number, we had a little discussion, and he told me meet him on the Bayfront. Now the irony was, one of the guys in Swinging Stars, the short guy with a moustache, kept calling me Mr. Hart. And I'm thinking, why are you calling me Mr. Hart? You see me in Swinging Stars shaking my stuff. So you know I've been around for a while, so why are you thinking I'm this guy? But he kept doing it, so I thought, So the irony was, as I was going to meet Junior Hart, I saw the Swinging Stars guy, and I said, come. I said, come with me. I said, I'm going to meet Mr. Hart right now for you to meet Mr. Hart. So he came with me, and I stood there, and he looked. He looked left, he looked right, he could see the two big fellas. And he realised, I said, now you can go back and tell your friends, family, talk to them.
Upa Mr.
I'm
Hart.
not Mr. Hart. I am me, and he is he. I am not Mr. Hart. I'm Robbie. And he laughed and we went back to work. So me and Junior had a little conversation. He said, you know what? I'm filming a soap opera. Tenants, and I think Tenants had already gone through a few episodes. He said, come on then, be my brother. And I thought, you know what, that'd be fun. But also, it would give me a profile that would show I'm not him. I have my own identity. And as a youngster, I was in the acting stuff. As I said previously, I've been in entertainment from young. So I thought, yeah, I can do ad-lib acting. So anyway, when we shot various episodes, I'm his brother. And I was always the one causing problems, and I was a character, and people loved the character Robbie in it. But what happened was he had contracts that he wanted artists to sign. Now, coming from music industry and contracts, doing royalties, etc., and being from in the dance field, I know actors, all the entertainers that I interact with friends, etc. I saw that contract, and that contract was a contract I would sign. Let's put it that way. I refused to sign the contract. So then I was excluded. He said, if you don't sign it, you're not in. I said, well, that's cool. Because I wasn't getting paid. It wasn't about the money. I did it for fun. And also, I had a sort of a dream to one day grace the stage of the Creole Music Festival. That was a dream I had in the background. So I thought, anything to raise the profile, right? So Hollywood was fun. Everybody's saying, Mr. Your brother, and da. I even get it now. So I can make it clear on Q95, I am not Junior Hart's brother. He's Jamaican, he's not Dominican. I am Dominican by descent, or whatever you want to call it. Salisbury, I'm there, you can find me there, or anything related to me is in Salisbury. Mr. was wherever, and right now he's in Africa somewhere, and done. But it was a great time for me. It was unfortunate, how things ended. I've met some of the other actors and actresses who were in that.
Yes.
And I see them, we were a family, we did great things. But my intention is to raise some funds to actually shoot a miniseries in Dominica.
You should.
Oh no, my intentions is another one of Robbie's mad dreams, visions, etc. I want to shoot a miniseries.
It's not a mad dream at all.
No, I want to do it. I want to shoot a miniseries.
Kadisha wants to be part of it.
You're in. As long as you can act.
Yes.
You have to have Vary. If you ain't got Vary, you know what I mean?
Let us
run Vary.
Let us take some calls for you, Robbie. It is 9:47. The time in our studios 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097. Overseas 305-432-9624. Hello, good evening. Hello.
This guy very interesting. What he has to do, he has to work the night. Now he talk about someone big. And what he has to do, he has to help us to bring the economy in the country. You understand? But
I am with you, caller. Okay, Robbie? Okay. So Robbie, basically he's saying that, you know, he would like you to find a way to help with the economy of the country, and more so Salisbury, I presume.
Well, I think whatever I do in Dominica, I always try and contribute. I can't specifically speak to a sector that it will impact, but there will always be impact. And I think I've proven that in the past, whether it's through giving employment, whether it's spending money on construction, where people can employ other people, and where money is spent locally, etc. So that's what I do as a person who has a lot of love for the land and love for the people, and feel part of the land and part of the people.
And
So I stay in my lane. That's my lane.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And you did, I guess, with West Central and all the other things that you've done, you know, coming here and working on the island, I guess, was your way as well of contributing to the economy, whether directly or indirectly.
Sure.
I'm sure you've played that part.
And I encourage others to do so. Every job I've had, you know, in all corporate positions, I always have Dominica material on my desk. You know, I work with professionals who travel extensively around the world. To come to Dominica. I encourage other people who I worked with have come to Dominica and honeymooned, etc. So I always try and point opportunity in the way of Dominica.
All right, 4493095, 4493096, 4493097. We're here with Robert John, and better known as Robbie. And if you want an opportunity to just interact with us a bit, you can do so. You can also send your messages via 275-7565 on WhatsApp. Hello, good evening. Good evening.
this is about formulation, the children, the line model, when this is the man there now. Mr. Robbie, what's up?
Respect my brother. Listen.
He asked you if the stomach is still big.
The stomach will always be, but my heart will always be bigger. And my love for the country will always be bigger still.
He wants to know if you're here for a little while.
I'm here for a short time, but I'm always in and out. You know, always in and out.
Alright. So what I want to do now is go back to your archive, right? And try to get one of them shirts, right? To run that play you used to play before. Because you used to play some great shows, and it was like, you know, how to fall in love, how to get in love, how your brother would be loving your sister lover, and how your sister would be loving your sister, you know.
Okay, is that how it went, Robbie?
I would call it Ro-Ro TV, and it's very popular. I mean, the unfortunate thing is I don't interact with Mr. Hart per se, and I have not even seen all the episodes, much less, you know, what the public has seen. So that will be, you know, probably very difficult. But what I do say is this, you know, irrespective of the challenges and how Hollywood ended, it's a great opportunity in there for us to create content, because I get stopped in the street in Barbados. I've been held up in Antigua. I've heard about St. Lucia. I've syndicated the show, and I mean originally it was on Caribbean Vision across the whole region, but then even national channels now are syndicating this. So this one bit of Dominican content that was just a conceptual idea is gracing the whole region. It's left a platform, it's left an energy in me to try and follow that with additional content.
I think you can.
Well, I think we can. I think it's something as a
Okay, I think we can.
Yeah, I think as a nation, we put that something like that in this space. We can continue to provide that. We have great music that goes regionally and going internationally. I mean, Bouillon. I mean, wow, the work of the Bouillon guys. It's just amazing to me. Why it's not bigger than what it is, but we can do that with other things, and I think film and TV is another way forward for us.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, I have to call back.
Okay, quickly, because time is already running out on us.
It's very shameful to see a man full of talent in exposing Dominica and the other Caribbean. We feel, my brother. And it's still full that you can see the street because I enjoy it. You understand? And you have enjoyed it. And that's bad. I think you should get some archive and we'll run it.
Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Time is already creeping up on us. Robbie, we have
talk for another hour.
I know that.
I know that.
Started. You just started. Let us talk about when you went back to the UK and what you got involved in when you got back to the UK and how you got involved in helping Dominica Costa Rica area.
Well, okay. Based on time, I'll try and be quick with these topics. So basically, I went back to the UK. I worked on some large e-commerce projects for a very large organisation. My final position. I spent the last couple of years with Deutsche Bank working on web technology, etc. Delivery technology. But then, I was at my desk with the Maria thing. Man, oh man. When Maria hit, obviously I was in the UK and felt very helpless and just had to do something. And alongside some other family members in Salisbury, we sort of formed a sort of an alliance to try and get some whatever aid we could to those in need that we knew we could get access to. I personally flew to Quada and I just hired a boat filled it with water and foodstuffs, supported by other family members and friends at large internationally. And I just landed on Mira Beach and I just delivered. I mean, we was on a boat across the sea and watching Chinooks flying, and I'd never been on a little boat before. And my stomach was pitching and throwing, and the engine cut out, and the boat bobbing and weaving, but you just felt it had to be something, right?
It had to be done.
And we got some supplies in, and then with another group, we actually then formed a logistical chain to constantly get free shipping and just move water and food as a collective to the Salisbury Disaster Management Committee as an entity to try and give to others. And then I was fortunate enough to be pointed to a charity. Well, a charity was pointed to me called Calcerate, the Seed Charity out of the UK, and they've assisted on a number of things on the ground here and will continue to do so. So, we've got 500 solar lights we distribute to school children, etc. I mean, this weekend, went to Montfrigard on Saturday and, distribute some solar lights that I had left from Council Aid. And when I saw this old lady living in a tent on the top of the hill, and her garden was immaculate, the grass cut, her little wooden house is flat, I tried to shoot a video giving her this solar light. I broke down.
Yeah.
Just see this old lady, the final, the latter part of her life, living in a tent, a year after, and it just sent me on an emotional journey, making me think about all the things in life we take for granted,
yes,
and how we take people for granted as well. And it was just very emotional, and so as a humanitarian, I will always try to work with organisations to assist those in need within the community I'm in and the extension of the rest of the island. We took 50 solar lights to Sandra Watkins, who does a lot of work in the Castle Bruce area and Canada Reserve, Canada Territory. Excuse me for that slip there. Yeah, and she's got 50 solar lights she's going to take and distribute to those in need, because we're aware some of those areas are
still without power, yes.
So, you know, I try. I'm one man, but I do try and engage whatever help I can get.
For
On
Dominica.
whatever level, support in technology, whatever, you know.
Let's see if we can take this call. Good evening. Hello. Okay, good evening. Sorry, we probably had you waiting for much too long. So you continue to do that type of work. You continue to do that type of work for Dominica, and up to this point, you're here now doing the lights. Prior to that, you got some food into the island via Guadeloupe, was it?
It was continual. I mean, you know, there's one journey when I was in China, a trade festival.
Let's just take this and then we'll come back. Hello, good evening. Sorry, don't want to keep you waiting too long. Hello? Okay, then we'll try this one. Hello, good evening. Good evening.
You might be serious.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening. Yes, good evening. Yes, good evening. Go ahead, please.
Hi.
Oh.
Okay. Respect. Yeah, I can hear you, Wayne, but respect my brother. Have a piece of chicken ready for me when I get back, right?
Did you hear that, Wavell? Oh gosh. Yes, he does. He does. Okay, Wavell, we'll have to make sure that you get the message. Read the chicken, okay? Make sure there's some chicken for Robbie when he gets back. So you're gonna just continue doing what you're doing for Dominica?
Well, the thing is, I mean, I'm trying to work my way back in. I want to be here. I want to work from here in the tech space and other spaces and try and engage things within the region. Coming here was a very significant part of my life, which the guys back in the UK asked me the question, are you going to Dominica, X, Y, Z? And I said to them, this is the closest to freedom that I will ever experience. I've ever experienced, and it works for me. So, there's a lot of things out in the world, and I think what I've experienced here has been very enlightening to me. It's given me a lot of understanding because, growing up in the UK, being of Dominican parentage, and then being in Dominica, but to be able to understand it all and bring it all together, sort of conclusion and understanding the time I spent there and able to do that. It's almost like making my life whole.
Mm-hmm. Let's take this call, Robbie. Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah. Give her a kiss. Okay. You're gonna hold the chicken for me. Good.
Unwanted, my dear. How are you? You fine? He's gone.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the love of my life. Unwanted.
Okay, that's my cousin.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. No, I mean, the way I've been embraced. I mean, first obviously by Soul's Breeder. I mean, St. Joe as well, Book St. Joe. That's my route as well. And then Dominica at large. I was told, oh, we don't go Grand Bay. Oh, it's a party. They said, no, you mustn't go Grand Bay. Like, okay.
Why not?
Well, reputation. I think back in the day when I first came down, there was a shoot. There was maybe some incidents there, but people, when I went Grand Bay, I was treated like a king.
Of course.
My God, they treated me so good. I've been everywhere. I've been every feast there is in DA already, and I've been treated so well. Even when I land, Liat fellas, the man is back. As I land, it's a love. There's so much love in Dominica that isn't exposed, but is within the people, and we need to find ways to bring it to the surface and share it.
All right, we're getting ready to wrap things up, but I have to give Robbie a little something. Not that I want you to dance again, Robbie. I'm just giving you a little something.
Okay, just give it to me, I'll take it.
This one we go conquer it. Struck back. Oh boy. Let's take this one on the overseas line. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Savannah. This is Lucy of Europe.
Good evening, my dear.
I joined very late, but I just wanted to ask, basically what I was trying to say is there are a lot of Dominicans who live abroad who would like to come back home, start businesses, start a new life, and contribute to the economy. So I wanted to ask your guest. He tried that, he came to Dominica. Was it a personal choice that he decided to go back to the UK, or was it, he encountered some challenges that maybe led him to go back? I just want to know, because people like us, we always battling with the thought of coming back and it doesn't work and you have to go back and start all over. So can you just shed some light on that for me, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is, for me, the primary reasons for me were personal. That's one of the primary reasons in terms of going back. But I think the thing is, when you come in, one of the key things that I realised early doors, which helped me a lot, was do not compete, but try to complement. I think that is very, very important. There are a lot of existing businesses here. There are a lot of businesses that are mature, etc. And the island is only of a certain size in terms of landmass. And when you come in, you have to come in with the vision of, look what's there, what can you add, ways you can add value.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what happens too often is people compete with what's already there. In that way, you're not received as warmly, for one, and two, you will find it difficult because obviously you're trying to take away a livelihood from somebody.
Yes.
So we have to find ways to elevate. And the other thing is, I think, locally, I think people need to be aware that the economy can grow exponentially. So if they work with businesses that are complementing their businesses, everybody's a winner. And there are certain sectors where you can keep growing, like service sectors, where your services are being utilised outside of Dominica. These things can grow to such magnitudes, but you have to work together. And I think a lot of people who come in, even myself included, don't take long enough to survey what they want to do, the industry, whether it will complement what's there, etc.
In fact, just yesterday, I was here hosting a program that we were doing, remembering Dr. Kelsey, and his brother Wilbur was here, and Dr. IP, and I was hosting for them yesterday. And one of the things that Dr. IP said, because this was part of the conversation as well, is that do your research. Do your research before you come. Be prepared when you come, and do not come with expectations that are beyond.
Well, I think that is a thing that people.
What the reality is.
I think a lot of people in the UK and overseas developed nations, you come back to Dominica and have unrealistic expectations of what you can achieve financially in the space, and I think that causes issues. And management of money, contingencies, a fund set aside just in case, etc. Plan Bs. A lot of people, it's an emotional, I think, decision, and that leads to difficulties. I mean, the restaurant was doing really well. Towards the end it was difficult because of the team. But as a concept, if I spun up West Central tomorrow, I know people will go there, and there's a livelihood there. It was just that's not what I do. I'm more in the tech space, the consultant space,
and the dancing and singing.
Well, that's me. That's my soul.
That's natural.
That's the natural soul.
Soul crooner.
You know what? I actually want to be a Creole crooner.
A Creole crooner.
I want to be the first crooner of Creole soul.
Creole soul.
Yes, a sing R&B, but crooning it with Creole.
Okay, you're gonna create that.
Yeah, that's what I want.
That genre.
That's my.
I think you can do it too.
Yeah, I think I want to sing on the World Creole Fest.
You want to sing on the World Creole
Yes,
Fest.
on
You
that
got
side.
to MC one
I got to
time.
MC, yeah. I went to
So you
MC.
got your dream.
I got that was one dream come true. But there's always new dreams, right? You dream every night.
So the
right?
dream now, the new dream now is
Yes.
to perform.
And I have to thank, like men like Danger Dane, after
He
in that
was here
period,
some time ago.
Sure, in that period, I was MC for the reggae shows, Morgan and Gramps Morgan, etc.
Etc.
And that was all within the period of the Creole Fest around 2030. And that was just a great time for me because I'm in my element.
You are.
It's ICT by day and Creole crooner, Oule Masters, Mr. Strokes, whatever you want to call it, by night.
It's called. Good evening. Yes, good evening.
Yes, baby.
Yeah, we are here, you. We are here, you and the father, and all your friends.
Okay, is Waver gone again? Oh my goodness, Waver, you have to get it together with the calling.
Actually, I have chicken. Don't you got the chicken ready?
Hello, good evening. Yes, good evening. Yes, please.
Yeah.
However, you in the Creole Festival, what is stadium is where it is when you coming from the west side and you come from the east side, so the government has to fix it.
Yes, and they're going to be working on that, my dear. I think they're doing some work on that already. This caller seems to really love us tonight, so
That's good.
we appreciate your contribution.
The more the merrier, right?
We appreciate your contribution, but we're going to have to wrap things up on the program. Yes, I know we were having a good time. We're definitely having a good time, but let's see if this is Wavel again, because we really want to make sure that the family can connect. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, that's my stepmom.
Was she on the bayfront when the cruise ship was there?
Were you on the bayfront? Yes, she was.
Oh, yeah.
She said she danced with you.
Yeah, I let go some strokes on the bayfront.
You let go some strokes. So you let go some strokes on my stepmom?
No, not on her, but in the vicinity. Boy!
What's that, Christian? He seems to be a gentleman who has a lot of fun. He's the type of person probably you just want to be around and just have fun. All right.
Yeah. Actually, I did say, to the Discover Dominica people out there, give me 5 dancers.
5 dancers.
And I would train them, and when them cruise ship come,
it's trouble. You know what we say? It's trouble.
Trouble, we? Yeah, trouble.
Hello,
just give me 5.
Good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello. Okay, you really need to manage your radio when you're calling the program. But Robbie, I know people want to continue calling, but we have to wrap things up. We've already got a bit over time on the program, but we were having so much fun. So Robbie, at the end of it all, you're now going to. But by the way, Yolande is listening. Yolande said to let you know she's listening.
Yeah.
Yes. At the end of it all, you're coming back periodically now.
Sure.
What is the ultimate goal as it pertains to Dominica?
The ultimate goal will be to stay within Dominica and delivering services, locally and regionally in the technical space, and looking for other opportunities to just create fiscal channels, to assist in developing whatever sector, whether it's the entertainment sector, whether it's technical sector, anything around that where I have expertise, I can engage people outside of Dominica to engage in things in Dominica and vice versa. That's where it is with me. I see myself as a sort of like a global citizen with a firm foothold and heart in the Caribbean, and I'll keep doing things in the Caribbean space.
Oh, no more WCK. No more
that's
for
more CK.
no more for you.
Tell us the secret tonight.
That's enough. That's enough for Robbie. As we're just getting ready to wrap it up here on the In the Spotlight radio show, I'm just going to give Robbie an opportunity to give his final comments. This has been quite a story, Robbie. Starting off from, dropping out of school, having to defend yourself as a result of racism, your parents having to teach you how to defend yourself and family, having to do that. But then moving on, not being discouraged after dropping out at the age of 15, but moving on to attain higher education and succeeding at it and everything else that you've done since then.
Well, in summing up, I'd just like to thank the listeners for, listening to my story. Just thank you for letting me come on the show to tell that story, because I just popped up out of the ether. It's been really good. I'd like to just thank Dominica for embracing me. The people of Dominica that have embraced me. I can't even go into name because it's endless. Family, in Salisbury, friends I've made along the way through West Central work, etc. And prior, those that encouraged me to come. It's a massive part of my journey, not just my journey, but my children's journey, who are in the UK excelling. And they went to school in preschool, in Salisbury School. My son was in the national reading competition in the final. It's an amazing part of their story. And my best friend, his children, they went to school here as well. They have amazing stories as well. Two white boys in walking around the Roso and hopping the bus. I mean, it's just been an amazing adventure that I just want to continue. And enjoy with everybody on the island.
And Robbie, we thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story, bringing so much life, through it all. So, the serious message, the serious conversation, entwined with the joy and the laughter and the dancing and the singing and everything else, that made the program such a beautiful program tonight. And I really do want to thank you for that. I really want to encourage you to continue having that kind of joy and life and everything that makes you who you are, that type of personality that you have. I don't think there's ever a dull moment around you, and continue bringing that joy to other people. You brought it to me tonight, you brought it to the audience, I'm sure, tonight, and just continue bringing that joy that you have to everyone.
And I would like to say that you guys enable me to give that joy, because you give me joy in return.
I want to be the next place that you are, that you're going to be dancing.
Yeah, okay,
I just want to look at you dance, that's all.
That's another story.
I'm not going to join you. I'm not going to join you this time. I already have to find a way to edit this video, right there. But it was certainly fun having you here. And I just continue being you, man, Robbie.
Yeah.
I think you're a good example, for the younger folks who are probably going through a difficult time right now, trying to figure out, if they still can, even after, making the bad decision or the bad choices that they've made, that there's still an opportunity, there's still a chance to do well. And, it's never too late to do well. And I think you're the perfect example of that. Not that you're saying, go out there and fight and cause trouble and, do that and whatever. And then,
stand up for what you believe in,
yeah,
and make the efforts to try and do the right thing,
yeah,
and not be afraid to. I think fear is a big thing in the space that stops us, and I think I've learned to live with the fear but still step forward. I think that's the important piece. Just keep stepping forward, one step in front of the other.
All right. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Khadisha. Thank you to Showin, actually, from Q95, who is also around with us. And thank you, everyone who contributed in one way or the other to this program here tonight with Robert John, better known as Robbie. And we will be back here next week, Monday, for another In the Spotlight radio show. Again, next week's guest is supposed to be quite an interesting one. I'm still awaiting, final confirmation. And once I have that, of course, we'll see the promotional video and the promotional material around the program. So keep it locked to the In the Spotlight radio show. Again, if you would like to make guest suggestions, you can do so by sending an email to inthespotlight.da@gmail.com, or you can send us a message via 7565. Just give us the name of the person that you suggest. As I said, it can be you, or you know, if it's somebody else, just give us the reasons why you think, a couple of reasons, you know, the background on the person, why you think they should be a guest on the program. And we should be good to go. We try our best to give everyone who has a story to tell an opportunity to be here and to share that story with the wider public, the wider Dominican public, and wherever the program is heard. Good night, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks again to just a few folks here. Quickly, we want to say thanks to Innovate Multimedia, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited, the folks at Dominican News Online, and also the folks at the Garaway Hotel, who are some patrons of the In the Spotlight radio show. They don't give us actual cash sponsorship, but they support us in ways that we need with their particular product or service. Until next week, Monday, God willing, good night. And thank you again for listening and for viewing.